Hey, 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 it is Friday, July 21st, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on the West Coast. I am Brannon Bleasel, and this is Success Never Sleeps, where we as a collective of small business owners, predominantly small martial arts school owners, we try to figure out this thing called life. And I say life because when people say it's not personal, it's business, I beg to differ. I think for every small business owner, their business is very personal to them. So, with that said, I want to make sure that my commitment and passion fulfilling my purpose of live your best life offers that to the small business owner. Sorry I missed you last week. I was away in Vegas. My son had a basketball tournament and we got to catch the NBA Summer League and he got to hang out with his friends. And, kind of at this age as a teenager, as a parent, we just kind of take the back seat, right? We're back there behind the scenes. And it wasn't cool to hang out with me, but I was with them at the NBA Summer League and I just kind of stood back and they did their thing. But just to witness the ability to fulfill that purpose and provide my children with memories that they can carry with them for a lifetime. I think that within itself makes working hard, working smart, having goals, fulfilling them very admirable for me. Cool. And as you're coming aboard, say hello. Tell us where you're tuning in from. We love the people that tune in from all over the world. I have people visiting me next week coming in from Switzerland, also coming in from England, the UK. And I'm really excited to have them in town. And maybe I'll get one of them on the show on Friday. I offered one. He said, my English isn't that good. I said, it's okay. But Ralph's success story, we rebranded him. Hey, Nam, what's up? Prestige Martial Arts. We rebranded his school to Excellent Martial Arts. And now he's hovering around 200, which may not seem a lot for some people, but his school floundered for close to a decade, around 55 students. And when we rebranded, we wrote the systems, we worked on his curriculum, we developed systems, all those infrastructure things that need to happen in a small business that normally do not happen in the first year. I will admit it. It was the same way for me in my DJ business, my music business, my Kids Love Life Skills business, my consulting business, my Morn martial arts, businesses. I'm going to tell you, I never had systems to start with, but supply and demand. And once you recognize you can only scale a business so far based upon your personality, then and only then do you recognize the potential of what needs to happen to create a small business where you aren't simply creating a job and you're a terrible boss, but where you truly create a business that most of the time, not all of the time, most of the time works for you and provides you with the freedom you need to live the lifestyle that you choose. What's up, Jason Smith, Believe Martial Arts, Chipley, Florida. As you're tuning in, please say hello. So let's thank our sponsors. We have none other than, where are they? There you go. We have Tusai, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, and LC Accounting. All companies I believe you should be using. Why? Because you don't do it alone. And as soon as your budget allows, there's certain things you should outsource. I have my own website. I have my own web designer for Kids Love Life Skills and for Brannon Beliso, but we outsource our martial arts websites to Market Muscles. Very strategic. So my team can go in and do things, update stuff, change pictures, change context, add links fluidly without my involvement or without our web designer's involvement. So I highly recommend if you can get a great website, do so with Market Muscles. My Studio, of course, if you're not using a CRM system at this point and you're still driving everything through Rolodex cards, Excel spreadsheets, things like that, Eventbrite, please knock it off. Knock it off. We've used My Studio now for 4 or 5 years since their inception. And we're very, 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 very proud of being able to partner with them, not only as a sponsor for the show, but as a client of theirs as well. Kids Love Life Skills, we use it. It's a huge impact in what we do, from our day camps to our after school program, to our special events, to our confidence building workshops at schools we go to our daily curriculum. If you don't have a solid life skills component in your school, you really, really need one. You do. And I believe Kids Love Life Skills is the most well-rounded, covering all the bases of educating the parent, educating the facilitator, educating the student, and providing a system with rewards that helps round it all off. And you create this true culture of character development that people don't buy into, people believe in. And I believe that's a big part of our success, which I'll share with you today. And last but not least, LC Accounting. I know people that are still doing their own bookkeeping. Knock it off. Knock it off. I rely upon Letitia to give me new tax laws. I also have an accountant, and they work hand in hand. But I rely upon them to help me make really sound business decisions, not based upon my whim or my pipe dream, but based upon current tax law, current policy, current things that are going within my county. There's just so many things like that that I'm unaware of that you pay an accountant for, you pay a lawyer for, you pay a bookkeeper for. So please stop doing that stuff yourself. If I could say what hinders most small businesses at this point is when they choose to do the books themselves. It's horrible. It's the worst choice you could make in your business. I'm going to tell you that right now. Hey, what's happening, Ralph? Ralph is up in Yosemite. I was just talking about you, Ralph. And Ralph, here you go. Here's success. Ralph's able to bring his whole family over from Switzerland. They were down in LA. He did Krav Maga. They're out there having fun. Now they're up in Yosemite. Next week, they're coming to San Francisco, and I'll get to hang out with them. And one of the first things I said to Ralph, when you can walk away from your business for at least 2 weeks solid, you've got a good business, right? That's working for you. Bob Poole, what's up, Bob? How's it going, Bob? Always here. You know, I'm so grateful to Bob. He's one of our, I won't say supporters. I'm going to say allies, friends, confidants, partners, however you want to slice that. But Bob has always supported the message, that message, and I appreciate that support in a world where haters and trolls and naysayers are more abundant than there are positive, loving, supportive souls. So I want to thank Bob for that. As you're coming aboard, say hello, say hello, say hello. So what is today all about? Flash it back up, DeMarco. Take a look at this, and I want you to look at the title of today's show, because I want to get it. The key word is succeed. The how-to is not nearly as important as the word succeed. The first thing I would like you to do, take out a piece of paper and write down, what is your version of success today, a year from now, 3 years from now, and 5 years from now? Try to do it in just very short. And then if you're bold enough, post it in the comments. What is your version of success today? In the moment, in real time, in every breath that you take, what is your version of success? Right? And while you put that in the comments, I'm going to continue. You know, we have It's Time Live Balance coming up November 11th through 14th, right here in Millbury, California, 5 minutes from SFO. Right. And as you see here, I think we have a very well-rounded team for this event. Dave Kovar will take care of the training. There's no better in this industry. And I say that because he has stood the test of time. Great teaching techniques, great philosophies, great strategies, great, formatting for curriculum. Dave Kovar is the international instructor, the instructor's instructor. He'll be here. I'll take care of the business. 35 years, third generation small business owner, successful. And not for one day, not for 1 year, for 35 years. Have I had failed businesses in there? Yes, sir. Things that we started half-baked, never made the light of day. But I am a successful business owner by all intents and purposes that American defines it, data-wise. We have Adam Lodi. Adam is a really cool kid, man. You know, we've gone from $35,000 a month to $75,000 a month working in my wisdom program with me in a matter of 3-4 short months. And it's not only because of me and my mentorship, it's really because of their vision for what they want to do. We're writing scripts together. We're talking B-rolls. We're doing so many things that are cutting edge. And it's so funny how Gary Vee said today, I saw it, stop, producing content to get more views and more likes. Speak from your heart. Haven't I said that from day one? Haven't I said be real from day one? So stop the 14 days for $14 BS, okay? Get down, get vulnerable, be transparent, put your truth out there, and it'll cut like a knife in a sea of everybody that's strategically fabricating content simply to get more views and likes. Do not think more views and more likes will equal more students. Absolutely not. Telling your story, making it relatable, making it in a position where you fulfill people's needs, powerful. Powerful. Okay. And then, of course, Sam on. I posted a testimonial for Sam the other day. And honestly, I've waited a long time to do this because I needed to know for myself that Sam was the real deal. That's it. I've been working with Sam for not a year, not 2 years, not I think close to 4 now, and I'm at the highest level of net worth I have ever been in my lifetime, ever been. And Sam is a direct correlation of that. The relationship I have with Sam is a direct correlation of that. So read the testimonial. Sam is coming in virtually. We do not record Sam. You do not get to watch it again. It's only for the people that are there at its time. So for me to have him even virtually is phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. So these are the 4 talents that are coming to It's Time Live Balance for the 4-day event. Get signed up now. The first 10 people get $200 off. Sign up now. You are your best investment. You and only you are your best investment. Invest in yourself wisely, passionately, and go deep. Cool? So anybody put in there? Nobody put in there? How they succeed today? What is their version of success today? Nobody was bold enough to give me that love. All right. So what I would like you to do is share this show with as many people right now, because if you want to be successful today, pay it forward. Pay it forward. Help somebody else be successful. And because you're sitting on this show, if other people sat here, they would get this great information as well. So what is my version of success today? Well, my routine every morning is the same. I meditate, I pray. I have a certain routine in the bathroom. Then I make my wife and I a latte from my beautiful Breville Barista Pro. And today, I really wanted to wash my car. So I decided I'm going to get up and wash my car. To have freedom to just do that, because that's what I wanted to do in the moment, is really freaking cool. So I washed my brand new Tesla, which is only a couple months old now, and I enjoyed it. I got this new ceramic coating and this PPF, and I can see the difference it makes, and I really enjoy that process. It's very therapeutic for me, much like when I make that latte. So for me, success is a mindset. Whether I'm washing a car, making coffee, brushing my teeth, it makes no difference. For me, success in the moment is a mindset. I had that happen yesterday. TJ's back from paternity leave, but another one of our key people, Sifu Bender, fell out of bed about 3 weeks ago, shattered his shoulder. Who knows how? 2 titanium plates, 9 metal screws. He's out for 3 more months, which means I don't go back to teaching 2 days a week. I'm going to stay on for 5 right now, but I got Wednesdays off. So I walked into the school yesterday and realized it was me and a couple of assistants. And I went in I put that uniform on and I dug my heels in and said, yeah, how lucky am I that I can physically be able to teach at this level? How lucky am I to go out there and make an impact in people's lives? How lucky am I? And I went out there and I taught for 5 hours like a bat out of hell. Because for me, success is living in the humility that there is nothing above me and there's nothing below me. But make no mistake, this week in trading with Sam, I'm not going to disclose how much I made in the stock market. So the yin to the yang of that is to be successful, live in a mindset of growth, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, a mindset of financial growth. All of those add up, because for me, live your best life means to be the best version of myself, to able to give my family the tools they need to be successful. I mean, last week we're in freaking Las Vegas. I don't know how much that cost. I have no freaking idea. How lucky am I to not look at that? I remember when I'd have to count my pennies and add up what I was ordering on a menu, a couple of decades ago. I remember those days. And to be able to sit there and not even look at the bill and just we treated kids out to eat. We did different things, don't even bat an eye. And to me, that's so not egotistical. Sometimes I got to pinch myself, I want to cry because I know what it's like to go without food for 2 or 3 days. I know what it's like to sit there and be in the dented canned food store. And my dad says, get some meat. And I look at the meat with this deep, deep brown hue of freezer burn. And I start methodically peeling back the expiration dates and see they put one on top of another and top of another and top of another to finally where, discouraged, I just give up and buy Vienna sausage and bologna and Spam when Spam was cheap and make that taste like a steak. Or imagine that Vienna sausage tastes like a steak. So please, when I share these things about wealth, I don't do so from a point of bragging. I do so from a really deep, deep, humble, like, wow, thank you, Lord, And that's why you are my passion. You are my purpose. I want you, if you're not experiencing that today, and if it is your version of success, to have just that. Cool? So, nobody put in what their version of success is today. That's cool. Put in any of your questions of what you're struggling with, of what you're challenged with today, of what fears you have, of what fixed mindsets you suffer from that you believe could be hindering you from being more successful. Now, I read some new statistics. They say 80% of small businesses make it through the first year. I thought it was 8 out of 10 fail, but I saw a different stat. If you got a different stat, Marco, find it for me. How many small businesses fail in the first year? Okay, but listen to this. Most small businesses fail because their service or product is not needed. Okay, listen to that. The reason most small businesses fail is because their service or product is not needed. We believe everybody needs martial arts, right? I believe everybody needs character development. I believe everybody needs my mentorship and should hire me as a consultant. Am I simply famous in my own mind? Right? Is there generally a need out there? I believe so. And I'm going to challenge that stat. When Steve Jobs sat in that meeting and said, we're going to make this thing smaller than a laptop, bigger than a cell phone, Wi-Fi ready, you can do computer work on it, yada, yada, yada. And we're going to call it an iPad. Back when nobody even knew they needed it. And now everybody in this world has a tablet, right? Think about that for a moment. So at that moment, when people were looking at Steve Jobs in that meeting going, this guy's freaking nuts. What is it that he knew that the world didn't know about an iPad? Any thoughts? What is it that Steve Jobs knew? Because the rest of the world didn't even know an iPad, it didn't exist yet. What is it that the rest of the world did not know that Steve Jobs knew? I'm going to tell you. Intuition. Intuition. I have a good friend who's a VC, angel investor, CEO. He's a new thinker, a thought leader, however you want to label that. And he says, when I work with startups, which he does a lot, he's had a lot of successful startups. He says, we hit this fork in a road, where you have to go left or right. And at that crossroads, either one could mean success or failure. And you know what he tells them? With all the data, you just got to trust me. Wow. You've just got to trust me. So my question to you is, do you trust yourself? Come on. Give me some love in the comments. Give me some thoughts. Do you trust yourself as a small business owner? Do you trust the decisions you make? Do you trust? Do you trust that? Right? Do you trust that? I would say the majority do not. And that is why you bleed your company dry, spending money on consultants, mentors, associations, digital media companies, silly things like Valpak or whatever, Yelp or whatever's out there, because you have no freaking idea of what you need to do to trust yourself. Anybody with me on that? Put it in the comments. Do you trust yourself? Come on now. Participate in this thing. Do you trust yourself? And for everybody else coming aboard, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I love giving everybody a shout out because I don't do this show alone. We do it together. We do this thing called life together. So, do you trust yourself? Come on. I'm going to give you my take. I don't know so much because we suffer from the condition of being human. If I necessarily trust myself on a human level, because humans are so flawed and we make a million mistakes. Oh my God, I make a million mistakes. I just watch bits and pieces of the new Steph Curry film called Underrated, this documentary, and it's just powerful. This guy sucked so bad, and people thought he would never make it in the NBA. But he was relentless. And I don't know if Steph Curry could trust himself on the days that he goes 2 for 20, right? How can you trust your ability when you go 2 for 20? But the one thing I do trust is my ability to work harder than anyone I know. What I do trust is my ability to never give up until I find a solution. What I do trust is the mindsets that I cultivate that failure is not an option. It's simply part of the learning. What I do trust is my faith in God. And these are all for me. I don't know what you trust. Ralph says, I trust myself because I have a vision. Yeah. You know, and trusting the process of fulfilling that vision is a challenge. Now, please don't get that wrong. Sam On is one of my financial mentors. Britt Doyle is one of my financial mentors. Robbie Van Andibe is one of my cultural and business mentors. I have very sound mentors, but we're discussing relationships that span decades of people who have had success in their fields year after year after year after year that pivot through challenging times. So my mentors are people that are my friends and I hold closely to my heart, and they have made me a lot of money. So I'm happy to pay them money. You know what I mean? So please be mindful. When I say get a mentor, that doesn't mean join every organization that's out there. And I did that video about the professional student, right? And how easily I like watching cult documentaries. And I'm just amazed how gullible and how easily people can be brainwashed into following some crazo, you know? And I see it even in our business too. I witness it all the time. You hold mentors and people on some pedestal. Do you realize my poop smells as bad as yours and I put my pants on one leg at a time? Why would you put anybody on any sort of pedestal? They're just a human being and they are flawed and they make mistakes and they're afraid. And at the end of the day, we both go in the ground the same way. So what I think what happens when you don't trust yourself, you put your trust completely in somebody else. And that is a recipe for failure. So that is why at the end of the day, what do I tell you? Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody. Make the choice yourself. Every time you do that, even when you fail and you pivot and you adjust, guess what? You learn to trust yourself more. And that is why it took me so many years to write the testimonial for Sam On. I needed to know unequivocally, I trust this man. I trust Sam. I trust Sam. I do. He has access to my trading accounts. You could go in them, I trust Sam. See where I'm going with this, people? So be really mindful of that. Okay, so number one is allowing yourself to make mistakes, to, do things in your business and trust that. But when it comes to financial choices, I want you to please have a sounding board. Please have a mentor. Go to your accountant, crunch to the numbers. Even when we remodeled last year, I asked Letitia, what can we do here? She says, well, we're still paying off some debt from the pandemic, blah, blah, blah. So I give you this much for Millbrae. I give you this much for San Francisco. Did I get everything I wanted? No. But like good negotiations, you will never get everything you want. And I trust Letitia to keep me on financial budgets in the business. I trust her for that. I don't want to think about that stuff and crunch numbers. So we rematted Millbrae. We remodeled the waiting area in San Francisco. See? So even at this point, I don't make knee-jerk decisions. I run it through my processes. And somebody posted that today. How does a behavior become a habit? Through practice. If I consistently call Letitia every time I need to make a financial decision, it becomes a new behavior, a new habit. You with me? If I consistently have 3 or 4 systems of checks and balances before I make a choice on buying even something as simple as a TV, right? I bought a Tesla, and everybody knows that. It's the one thing I'm proud of. My first car was an $800 Dodge Dart I bought from my dad. I paid cash for this Tesla, but it wasn't just a knee-jerk decision. I put in solar in 2017. I remodeled my home in 2019 and put in the 220 for the Tesla charger. It came up on sale finally this year. Never heard of. Tesla dropped their prices dramatically, so I picked one up. See, it wasn't just like, let's get a Tesla. It wasn't that way. So I'm sharing with you, please, when you're going to make a decision, do not make an emotional decision. Have a system of checks and balances in place. That will teach you to trust your decision-making process. Because another reason small businesses fail is because they run out of capital. They run out of capital. Write that down. So if you're opening a new business or you're making a move, in an ideal world, you should have at least 6 months of expenses, 6 months of personal living, 6 months of marketing, 6 months of payroll, 6 months of everything in the bank somewhere stored up. So you're not freaking out every day of your life, because it's going to take at least 6 months to get to a point of break even if you're really, really good. What does the average business take, folks? 3 to 5 years before they're out of the red and profitable? Think about it. I'm not talking about a dollar profit. I mean real profit, where you can move that needle and get to the next level in that business. 100 students is easy all day, every day. You could do that with a little bit of Facebook marketing, a couple of community events, and teaching relentlessly. I'm talking about scaling it to 200. Ralph's at 200. Let's get Ralph to 300. That's a whole nother business model, whole nother behavior. Truly it is. So I'm mindful of that. And we're going through that now. At 61, I'm revamping my whole vision of what I want this business to look like in the next 3, 5, 7, and 10 years, because I'm moving in different directions, right? So that's important as well. I think another really big mistake is every business should do an annual business plan. If you've never done a business plan, don't think it's too late. Do it. Do it now. Do a business plan, because it'll really get you insights on demographic studies, right? Because that's the other thing. So like if they say small businesses fail because the community doesn't need their service or product, you better open a school where your service is needed. I will never sell air conditioners in Alaska. It'll never happen, right? It'll never happen. So be mindful of that. When somebody tells me I open up a school because this is where I live, that's a really bad choice. Do a business plan, because it also gives you that vision of projections. How much money we're going to make in year 1, year 2, year 3. What's break even? What are going to be our different programs, right? The SWOT analysis is powerful. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. I would do that one right now. What are the strengths in your businesses? What is the weaknesses in your business? What are the opportunities? And what are the threats? That's a great exercise you should do every year. Next, budget. Please create a budget. How many of you right now take ownership? Put it in the comments. Have a budget. Go. And if you're listening to the show and you're just tuning in, please put in your name, put in where you're tuning in from, and give me some comments. The people who are here, I want to know that you're here. This is one of the hardest webinars I do. Everybody wants to know how to get 10 new students, and I balk at that every time. It's not about getting 10 new students. It's about first creating an infrastructure in your business that is sound, the foundation of that business. You know why? If you build a great foundation, you can build anything upon it. You have no foundation, it's flimsy. The infrastructure of your business is weak. It's like a house of cards. It's ready to topple any given moment, any given moment. And that reality came for me when somebody asked me that question, Lay, of my studio, what would happen if you get sick or hurt and couldn't work a day in your life? How long would it be before your businesses fail? At the time, I was all that in a bag of potato chips, $1 million a year, right? I don't know, 400 or 500 students in San Francisco, but I was teaching 40, 50 hours a week. If I got sick or hurt, that business was gone in a year. Gone, gone, gone. And my wife, my newborn son, my mortgage, everything, they would suffer. We would lose it all. So that eye-opening reality made me methodically take care of the number one priority: replace me on the mat. That's the first thing you need to do. So you need to find your second. Who is your second? Who is the person that can do everything you do and do it 10 times better? For me, that's TJ Delacruz. And we've methodically worked to get him a pay, a salary that is equal to what he offers. Next will be profit sharing. That's the next thing. And I'm already looking at that now, right now, because TJ is my second. He will take over this company completely. And he pretty much was doing that before the pandemic. He was. And so that is our goal. That is really important. So if you had to think right now, if you got sick or hurt, how long it would be before your business closed and why? And if it's because you teaching, replace yourself on the mat right now and make sure you lock that person in. Know their goals, pay them well, give them purpose, and make them see that this right here is going to fulfill their purpose and all of their dreams in their lives. But you got to back it up. You got to walk your talk. And I think that's so detrimental in so many businesses. You say one thing and you do another. Cool? So, quick review. Learn to trust myself by making real choices. Get the right mentors, get the right information, but learn to trust myself, right? Learn to trust myself. Next, do a business plan. Next, do a SWOT analysis in that business plan, right? The next, ask myself that real question, right? If I got sick or hurt, how long would it be before that business failed? Oh, don't forget the one about budget. Create that budget, stick to that budget no matter what. Create that budget and stick to it, right? Stick to it. What did I say? Stick to it. You hear my passion, America was built on small businesses. It's what drives this country. I know we have the apples and we have all of that, but it's a small business that drives America. So I really want you to think about that right now. Because it's scary, right? For your small business owner who's running, 1 to 200 students, you're doing the majority of teaching. If you get sick or hurt, that's a bad day, right? That's a bad day. Do you have a second? Do you have a second? Do you have somebody right now you're grooming, you're nurturing, you're cultivating to replace you? We have 2 or 3 people right now to do that with. But as people say, well, if you're in that position, why don't you open more schools? I've already shared that with people. I do passionately. It is not my desire to open more schools because the big variable are human beings. You can't control that. I like passive income. Thus, I like the stock market. Thus, I invest in startups. That's the way I go. That's how I choose to walk, right? Because there's a million ways to be wealthy. And if the purpose of opening up more businesses, more locations is to accumulate more wealth, there's a million ways to do that. Don't think a martial arts school is the only way to do that. Sam On has taught that to me. And I remember the conversation with Roland Ottersborn, maybe about 15 years ago. I said, man, I don't know what I want to do next. I'm doing over $1 million a year. I'm a millionaire. The route logically is to open more schools. And then he asked me why. I said, well, because that's what you do to be successful in the martial arts industry, right? You open more locations. And he says, I don't even own a school. I sold my schools and I travel the world, with hyper and millennial training. And Roland does very well. So I looked at that and I realized I could affect more change for me on a broader scale with its time, right? I'm blessed. I get to work with schools in Australia, Sweden, UK, Canada, all over the world, Germany, and throughout the United States. How blessed am I to have that kind of cultural experience and learn to relate and see the world on a whole nother level. We do that with Kids Love Life Skills. So understand that. Sam On, one school, 127 students, multimillionaire. Do not think owning more locations is the version of success. Let alone, and this is a big one, I find a big mistake for the small school owner, you enlist a consultant that has multiple schools. Why do I think that's not a good choice? Because it's simply driven by systems, template, do it here, 150 students, go over here, 10 miles down the road, replicate it. I get that. That's been around forever. I'm going to say, for me, I believe the quality of what you do is not conveyed. Everything strictly follow our programs, follow our systems based upon your franchise, yada, yada, yada. Okay. What I'm saying is very unique about America is the mom and pop mentality. And in the martial arts industry, there are more mom and pop schools than there are franchises. Think about that. Think about all the franchises out there right now. Okay. So there's more mom and pop martial arts schools than there are franchises. That is indicative of our industry. That is native to our industry. So there's a certain component of your business, that je ne sais quoi, that thing where you want to make sure you write those systems. You, based upon your vision, your core values, your purpose, are writing systems into your curriculum. Like Marco, when I finished It's Time Live Boston, he's focused martial arts. His focus became inserting focus into their language, their culture, their drills, so that it became part of growing that culture. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if it's focused martial arts, wow, it's our focus to help you achieve your personal goals. It's our focus to give back to the community. Who's showing the most awesome focus? Doing those push-ups with a nice straight back, going all the way down, all the way up. So again, but there needs to be an SOP, a system to back that up. So I really believe there's a certain amount of nurturing that the bigger franchises can't offer you that a smaller consulting firm like myself can. You create a real great brand, pretty soon you're along for the ride. It trips me out. Some days I go around and go, well, I'm just here, is things bigger than me now? And it is. It really, really is. And so you want to be mindful of that when you choose that mentor. Another big part of what we do that I think needs to happen when you talk about what you do is you wear a lot of hats. Okay. You have to wear a lot of hats. And I was talking to somebody, was that yesterday maybe? Might have been yesterday or the day before. Oh, yeah. It was one of my wisdom clients yesterday. And they said, my dad used to tell me, don't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Don't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Hey, you're a small business owner. You need to be a master of all trades. Something breaks in your school, you're going to wait for a freaking handyman? No way. Fix that damn toilet if you can. Figure it out. You know how empowering is this for me, who's not very mechanical, to figure stuff out and fix it that day, right? When someone tells me the bathroom's broke, we're down to one bathroom, and I know we got 200 bodies running through our school that day, and to be able to go in there and make an adjustment because it was something so small and it wasn't truly broke, that is so freaking empowering. It is. I love standing toe-to-toe with a lawyer and being able to speak enough of a language where it makes sense to them and me. I love talking to my bookkeeper, an electrician, anybody. I love standing toe-to-toe with a digital marketer and knowing whether they're full of BS or not. That's so empowering. And if you try to do that from the mindset of, I'm a black belt, I'm a black belt. No, you're not. You are not a black belt in digital media. You are not a black belt in contracting. You are not a black belt in, law. So be humble enough to go out there and do the research. We're in the information world, but you got to make that commitment, that humility, that, you know what? I don't know anything about this subject. Let me dig deep. I cannot tell you how through the pandemic, with Letitia's help and Beth, Stevens' help, my accountant and bookkeeper, I had to make real decisions. But when they would send me things and I would study it, I had to trust myself, right? So take that off your plate. You are not a jack of all trades, but you better invest to become a master of things, right? 1,500 hours, whatever it takes to become a master, study that stuff, because that's how people get screwed. How many great athletes, show business people get screwed out of their money because their accountant takes it and screws them blind. I could tell you how much money is in all of my accounts right now without barely looking. I check it all the time. So I'm very mindful of what I do. So make no mistake of that. But If you're too damn lazy, you lack vision, you're not disciplined, and you don't do the work, then you are a technician with an entrepreneurial seizure, as Michael Gerber would say, of the book E-Myth, which you better freaking read, right? Because you think, I love martial arts, I love teaching and changing lives, so I'm going to open a martial arts school. Guess what? You're no longer just a martial arts instructor. You negotiated a lease, you did a budget, right? With projections for the first 3 to 5 years. You did a business plan. You did a marketing plan. You have to come up with H&R policies. You have to come up with a system of training and developing instructors, ... You are no longer just teaching martial arts. And that is why many great martial artists fail in the martial arts business industry. They fail because they never get past the glory days of being a great fighter or a great competitor. Never, 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 never. And they live it over and over and over again. Like a loop, they play that tape in their mind again and again and again and again. Again and again and again. It makes good for bar talk. You want to start nostalgia. But if I'm going to be relevant in real time in a changing world, we have children who are still suffering from, PTSD from the pandemic. Humans, right? We were a whole different industry than we were pre-pandemic. So to be relevant, you must always visit your curriculum. You must always visit the way people are learning. You must always visit the way people are behaving in the work environment. It's constant. It is never ending because life is fluid. Life is in a constant flux of change. So is your business. So how is it? How is it? Put it in the comments. How is it that right now some businesses are standing still, some businesses are failing miserably in the martial arts industry, and some businesses are thriving? What is your number one answer? Put it in the comments. And for those of you coming aboard, tuning in, say hello. Say hello. I wonder how many people will watch this. Whenever I do the seminar of how to get 10 new students, everybody and their mother is freaking there. But nobody wants to learn business. You know why? It's like stretching. You know how many martial artists don't stretch? You know how many martial artists don't do the cardio work, right? It's mundane, it's boring, but it is so vital and essential to your success. Becoming a black belt in business for me was number one. Being a third generation small business owner, watching my grandma, watching my father, and being one myself, and having worked for small companies. Oh man, this guy, Jerry Nowalski, started Disco Downs Mobile Disco at the height of disco, fresh out of the army. He had a little turntable and he played in the singles club he was part of, right? He took that from freaking that to a multi-million-dollar company. And I was right there with him, writing systems, learning. We went from 3 people on the staff to 40 I was managing. I learned so much from Jerry Nowalski. And I don't talk a lot about him. God rest his soul. He died of cancer, 30 years ago or so. But it was powerful. Jerry Nowalski taught me so much about business. And anytime I can give him a shout out, I will. I simply will. Come on. What's your comments? What's your comments? Put it in there. And you can hear my passion about this because I work with you guys. You are, I love you. I love when I see somebody like Team Martial Arts, once everyone's back from the summer, they're at 325. That's amazing. That's freaking amazing. I was working with Wade back when it was 150, somewhere in there, right? It's just so beautiful to see that. Samar Shur of Empower Martial Arts hovers around 400 something. It's just a good day. It's such a good day. And she's married with a kid. She has a great team in place so she can, be a mama. Those types of things, to me, understanding your vision and your version of success as a consultant for me is number one. Then we do everything we can to fulfill that. It is not cookie cutter. It is not simply join my association and follow these systems and watch my videos. It's so lame. I can't tell you how each of you are unique and different and special, but you got to do the work. Got to do the work. Anything else? Come on. No questions in there? All right, Marco, flash it up really quick. And then I'm going to kind of start wrapping this up. It's time-life balance. Please, I encourage you to make the investment in you. You are your best investment. I have the best of the best coming from The youngins like Adam, who's a startup, who's new, who's fresh, who understands that digital media moves at a breakneck speed, to Sam, who's a multimillionaire with one school, 127 students, to Dave Kovar. Enough said about Dave Kovar. And of course, to myself, who's proven in the martial arts industry, for those of you school owners, 23 years, we're going to do $2.1 million this year. And I'll happily show you my taxes to prove that. You know, people say people's numbers are overinflated. I will happily back that up with anybody that wants to see my numbers. Anybody, 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 because I believe the truth will set you free. And if you understand your shortcomings and the different things, you can make a difference. That's why the 4-day experience of It's Time Life Balance, save yourself $200, the first 10 spots, $200 off. Only 20 school owners for 4 days. Some people are flying in their team just for Sunday. That's cool. But for you, 4 days. Close your school, put the shutters on the windows. You need to be here for those 4 days. Get signed up now, right now. So, what do I understand in today's climate, right? In today's business climate? Well, I do understand from my own personal experience that you don't need to own multiple schools to be successful. If that's your version of success, so be it. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody else. Number two, I think this is a real big one for me. I've really come to understand what makes me happy today at 61 years old. What makes me happy is being present at all of my kids' activities. We just got back from Las Vegas. And yeah, I'm a fly on the wall. I'm not professor. I'm not this. I'm not the TED Talk speaker. I'm not the, meta speaker or any of that. I'm just a dad. And I love, love, love sitting there. Do I have to sit on my hands and bite my tongue? Yeah. I could tell that coach how to coach better. I could fix his mindset. My son should be doing this. But just the humility to know my purpose for my son to be fully supportive is to sit there, bust him around, hold his water bottle, make sure he's got food in his belly. That's just so cool. It is. It just is. To be able to walk into my beautiful home every day and see my family doing what they do and know that, I'm huge in that happening. That's cool. To be able to go into the school and teach. I have a new love for teaching that I'd gotten away from for close to a decade. And it's relevant right now because we're revamping the curriculum, which we do every 7 to 10 years. I have a whole recording studio of video equipment to reshoot all of these curriculum videos. And I want to take it all the way through 5th degree black belt. So I've got things on my plate. I do. We're just redesigning all the coloring sheets for Kids Love Life Skills because I always felt that was lacking. So that's happening. It's Time Consulting. I'm in the beginning stages of potentially becoming part of a company as like an executive CEO, an advisor, right? The elder of the tribe. So I'm doing the things that I believe are my version of success today at 61. But see the difference why I believe I'm able to fulfill that is because I know who I am. I know what creates balance in my life. I know my purpose. Clear as I know my own name. Do you? That's a big one, right? Do you? And so when I ask that question to you, do you really know that? So understanding hey, Stephanie, all the way in Germany. Hey, Stephanie. Oh, well, we'll miss you, Stephanie. You and your dad are amazing people. I'll never forget you the time when I was in Germany. I think you're pretty cool. And again, being a family business, I love that you and your papa work together. I really, really do. We're going to stream it live, not Sam on, but we will stream Sunday live if that's something that might interest you. I might even convince Dave Kovar to let us stream Saturdays instructors training live. That'd be very cool. I don't know the time difference, but maybe that's something we can cultivate together. Do a partnership, right? In Germany. Think about that, Stephanie. Well, wouldn't that be cool? That might be cool. That might be cool, right? With Zoom and the advent of virtual, that could work. Think about that, Stephanie. But I'm so grateful you're here, all the way from Germany. Malloy. Hey, Malloy. Good to see you. Who else is tuning in? All right. So I think another big thing that we all overlook, and I get to work with curriculums from Shotokan to BJJ to Kung Fu, is we don't spend enough time investing in our curriculum. And what do I mean by that? When somebody tells me, I teach in the old ways, the way my teacher taught me, and his teacher taught him, and his teacher taught him, and his teacher taught him, as noble and as romantic and nostalgic as that sounds, I think it's a huge hindrance. It really, really is. Am I asking you to abandon your art? No freaking way. I love Kenpo, our version of Kenpo, from Ralph Castro, Ed Parker, William Chow to Matosi. I love it. So we preserve the core of it, which are what we call katas or dances. We keep them. We keep them. But anything beyond that, it's a free for all. But what not? Let me reword that. The sky's the limit. So everything I look for is to make Kenpo stronger. We lack in the grappling arts. So the exploration into jiu-jitsu, I did 4 years of Gracie, and I want to get back to that. I'll say that publicly. I want to get back to that, studying jiu-jitsu again, because I want to incorporate more of that. Originally, it was Kenpo jiu-jitsu, and all the jiu-jitsu was weeded out because when they're fighting in the bars in Hawaii, you can't sit there, trying to do an arm bar with 4 guys punching you at the same time. So they started to abandon that because it was hard to teach, and they got purely into stand-up, and that's why Kenpo has so much striking. Probably more than it's needed, but they have a lot of striking, right? So we preserve the integrity of Kenpo. And I say that from a child who started Kenpo in 1967. I say that from a child who studied with the founder, great Grandmaster Castro, and studied with him as an adult, God rest his soul. I love Kenpo. I preserve the integrity of it. So make no mistake, when I talk about the yin and yang of creating balance and the relevancy that I bring to the table when I very disciplined look at our curriculum and say, what do we need to do here? Prime example, we had 3 katas at white belt, 3 katas that are ridiculously hard, that a 7-year-old will never learn, never, ever, never learn. We have a kata that was a white belt called Iron Fan. That sits now in year 4. Year 4. We didn't abandon it. We just moved it to a different experience where it was skill level and age level appropriate. You with me on that? So when I talk about curriculum design, I'm often met with a lot of resistance, And it tends to fall on an ego of an instructor who's blinded by that ego, and they're famous in their own mind. My attrition rate is really low. My trial conversions are really high. I've been in business 30 years and I have 100 students. Okay, if that is your version of success, totally cool. Why are you calling me? Why are we having this conversation, right? Why are we doing this? So be mindful of that. So curriculum design is a big one because the core product, think if Apple never improved their iPhones. Think if they never bettered their computers, a faster processor, a longer battery life, et cetera, et cetera. Think if they never did that, they would be obsolete in a heartbeat. So I'm asking you, out of value, so your system doesn't die. I don't want to see Kenpo die. And our version of Kenpo is become a very small infraction of what it used to be. I will not allow that to happen. And if I do it right and TJ takes over these schools, potentially Kenpo will live on for another 30, 40 years. And if TJ does that right, he'll find another person, and so on and so on and so on. And now we're at, 950 students. That is a good amount for 2 locations in a Kenpo school. Very good amount. I know Bob White, I believe, God rest his soul, they say he was doing close to 500. So you see where I'm going with this? And that's based upon a very clear purpose, core values, and what is non-negotiable. I will not abandon Kenpo for the latest trend or fad. So please spend a lot of time on curriculum development. Next, your team. I watch businesses suffer tremendously because their turnover rate. Now, you are going to have that kid that gets the black belt at 14. You nurture, they rock it out. They're a great instructor. 18, they go away to college. That's it, right? That's going to happen. But out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of that happening, you get a cool guy like TJ. I get a great guy like his brother, Lucas Dela Cruz. We get a great guy like Sifu Paris Bender. We get another great guy like Sifu Fiddler, right? Who came through us via Aikido. Those are 4 core full-time people, right? Carrie Ann Dela Cruz. I mean, I've got a handful of people that have made this their life's work, but it was nurtured when they were 13, 14, 15, 16. I was relentless with TJ and his brother, relentless, but I have to keep paying them better, not based upon, well, what does a preschool teacher make? What does that? No, bullshit. I'm going to call you out on that. What you need to do as a level 5 leader is know their dreams and help them fulfill it. Help them fulfill it. When TJ was still in college trying to figure stuff out, I never guilted him. I just kept nurturing and nurturing and nurturing and nurturing. And I'm so blessed to have TJ and his brother today and his whole family. So building your team, building that bench strength, become a company that people want to work for. We have 401ks. We have medical siphons for most of my salary people, right? And I'm relentless in helping them fulfill their version of success. In and out of my business. That's a big one. Would you want to have 100% of 100,000, or do you want to have 35% of 2.2 million? Well, that's a no-brainer. Okay. So really look at that and be mindful of that. How many great companies pay CEOs millions of dollars, multi-millions of dollars? Think about that, please. Think about that, please. And I think in our business, that's another thing. You're lucky. I've upgraded you to the master program and you're paying me more. You got upgraded to the leadership program, so you're paying me more. And guess what? You're going to teach for free as part of your internship. And guess what? You get to clean the school for free and do birthday parties. And guess what? It's wrong. I'm going to say it, it's wrong. Wrong. And that's the tip, And then, of course, I think for me, there is nothing above me and there's nothing below me. I found out yesterday that the lead guy for camp is going to Vegas for a basketball tournament because he's a coach as well. So guess what I'm going to do today at 1:30? I'm going to surprise the team, go in there and love on them and help them run the afternoon shift of camp. And they're going to feel such a huge weight taken off their shoulder. And I'm going to back them up. You know why? Because I can. And plus, my kids are going to Great America and they're going with some moms, and it's not cool that dad's there. Just what it is. I asked that the other day. Can I come to Great America? They said, well, it's just the moms and the kids. So I'm cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in. And I see the smile on my face because I am so blessed. I am lucky. I'm going to say that, even lucky, that I'm successful at what I do. But it's because my mindset is there's nothing above me and there's nothing below me. If that toilet needs to be cleaned, I clean it. If that floor needs to be swept, I sweep it. See, it's not what you do, it's why you do it. And I'm dedicated to our purpose of live your best life. You with me? So I want you to really embrace everything I've shared today. And if you're not successful under your version of success, I would have a really deep conversation with myself and ask why. And stop living from fear and ego and really get honest with yourself, and start methodically chipping away and do the different things I shared. Learn to trust yourself, right? Through making error, good choices, bad choices at all. Do a business plan. Please create a budget. Stick to it. Please. Ask yourself that question. If I got sick or hurt, how long it would be before my business is gone? Create the systems to replace you. Find your second. Spend heavily in your curriculum and your team, growing that team. Become a company people want to work for. And definitely, like I shared, I have my mentors. They're people I love and trust with all my heart. But I don't take mentors lightly. I do my due diligence. And if I'm going to cultivate a relationship with you, it's going to be through hell and high water, because the relationship is more important than the money we make together. The relationship we have is more important than the errors, the mistakes, everything, everything. Because those mentors know me, they get me, and they've genuinely, on all levels, work to help me achieve my version of success. Cool? So let's begin by thanking our sponsors, all people I love, all people that are wildly successful at what they do. Toussaint, Gunny and the gang there supply all the uniforms and stuff and equipment to the Olympic team. That's amazing. And now they've branched into karate and judo and BJJ. Market Muscle, Steven Reinstein, love you, sir. My Studio, Tulay, Lynette the gang. Again, you need a CRM system. My Studio is simply it, right? You don't see them do a lot. And this is the thing of a great company. Elon Musk does very little advertising. I understand he's finally going to start advertising Tesla. A great company, like a great business, is more about word of mouth than anything. And if you do good work, you would be amazed what can happen in your business, right? And my studio is an example of that. Very low-key people, right? They're not loud. What they do is something special. And that is, to me, an indication of a great company. Kids of Life Skills, Marco, Amy, Chris, Ben, Letitia, my nephew and niece, they pretty much run it. I'm the vision. We have a lot of work to do. I know that, and the one thing I can promise you, because I've experienced it in schools all over the world and with ourselves, having a strong character development component in your business will set you apart from swimming, gymnastics, t-ball, everything. And don't just randomly decide, well, I'm going to talk about this today. No. LC Accounting, I love Letitia, my sister. Again, everybody here I'm quoting, I love these people. And that's what helps us cultivate decisions through rough times, through good times, because you're doing it with people you genuinely love. And I know in the business world, people might balk at that and think this guy's, a dreamer. But in the words of John Lennon, you might say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I'm not. So if you're a dreamer like me, but you need to do it smart, you need to do it right, you need to do it with systems, you need to do it with purpose, you need to do it with core values, with a team, knowing that you must become a master of a lot of things, join me November 11th through 14th, right here, Millbrae, California, 5 minutes from the airport, 4 days for It's Time Life Balance. Go there right now, sign up, and spend the 4 days. It will change your life. If anything, you have a new friend, and we're going to help grow your business. I promise you. Cool? All right. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. I want to thank Marco for holding it down. I wasn't here last week. They always take care of things, and I'm grateful to witness Marco's success and his amazing brand, Focus Martial Arts, and everything that they do. Ralph, excellent martial arts. Jason, Believe Martial Arts. Stephanie, thank you for joining us from Germany. All of you are sitting there in the eye in the sky, silently just listening. I hope you got something out of today. Share this. Go to YouTube. Go to iTunes, the podcast. We have this show everywhere. Share this with as many school owners that can benefit. Help contribute to the movement. We are a community of small business owners and martial arts school owners doing what America was built on, doing what most of the world is built on, the small mom and pop who simply want to take care of their family, take care of their team, give back to their community, and truly make a difference. I'm Brannon Bliso. This is Success Never Sleeps. Until we talk again, what are you going to go out there and do? Live your best life.